If there's one thing that I've heard people wish that they learned in high school, it's about their credit score. You hear it everywhere. Credit score, credit score, credit score. But what is it and why does it matter? So the thing that you need to know about your credit score is actually something called your credit report, which is essentially anything that had to do with any bills that you paid, any student loan that you've taken out, any bill that you didn't pay. All of that gets reported to what's known as a credit bureau. So there are three major credit bureaus: TransUnion, Equifax, and Experian. So what appears on your credit report is things like your payment history, how many bills you've paid over time, something called credit utilization, which is how much your credit line that your bank has given you versus how much you're using, your length of credit, which is how long you've had any accounts open, your mix of credit, which is made up of something like your installment loans, which is like a mortgage or a student loan, revolving credit, which is like a credit card, and that's all. You're actually legally entitled to see your full official credit report 3 times a year, one from each bureau, and you can get that at annualcreditreport.com. So you've got your credit report and you've looked it over and you see all this information and you're like, what's my credit score? Where is it? Weirdly enough, your credit score isn't on your credit report. You actually have to go somewhere else to get that, and we'll get into that a little bit later. What is a credit score then, and why are people so obsessed with it? It essentially is just a 3-digit number that signifies to all banks why they should give you credit or how trustworthy you are with credit. The weird thing is that you could have multiple credit scores. There are many different credit scoring models that different banks and lenders use, and we're actually going to talk about the 2 most common today, and those are your Vantage score and your FICO score. So there used to just be your FICO score, which was introduced in 1989, and that is actually the most widely used credit score today. I want to say about 90% of mortgage lenders use that to approve mortgages. But then, in 2006, those 3 credit bureaus all decided to get together and make a competing score, which they called the Vantage score. If things weren't confusing enough, there's actually something else called an educational or a plus score, which is not an actual credit score. It's just looking at all of the factors and like somewhat calculating it. But just be warned that this is not your official score. That's why when you hear those horror stories about people who go to apply for a mortgage and they're like, oh my God, my score is actually 70 points lower than I thought it was. It's mostly because they only have been looking at one type of credit scoring model, or it's their educational score. Going back to your credit report. While you can only access your credit report 3 times a year, you can look at your credit score really whenever you want, either through a credit monitoring service or a bank. So if you want to look at your FICO score specifically, you can go to freecreditscore.com, or you can look at Discover's credit scorecard. And then your Vantage score is actually probably the easiest to get. Most of the time, it's what you're gonna find on a free third-party site. So it's also important to note, getting my Southern out. Also super confusing is even though you have your FICO score and your Vantage score, most of the time, or not most of the time, all of the time, you're going to also have your Experian Vantage score, your Experian FICO score, your TransUnion FICO score, your TransUnion Vantage score. So again, it's super important for you to look at what credit report is being pulled for each score. All right, so now that we know what our credit score is and where it's coming from, what does it actually mean? So although we have all of these different types of scores, it's actually super helpful that your Vantage score and your FICO score use the same credit tiers for scoring. Let's look at the credit score tiers. 300 to 600 is generally bad credit. 601 to 657 is poor credit. 658 to 719 is fair or average credit. 720 to 780 is good credit, and 781 to 850 is excellent credit. So if that number isn't as high as you want it to be, don't worry. Although the average FICO score in the US is 704, which is actually pretty high, it's mostly because there are a lot of people who have had credit for a really long time, rising that score up. So if we're looking at a FICO score of an 18 to a 29-year-old, that score is actually only going to be 658. So 659. So why are young people's credit scores so meh? It's mostly because you just simply haven't had enough time to build up your credit and make your payments and take out mortgages. So if you make a mistake like right out of college, you forget to pay a bill, that's gonna have so much more effect on your credit than it would if you were 50 or 60. Also, when you're younger, your credit card limit is probably super small. So like when I was 22 and I had my first credit card, my credit limit was only $500. And because you're generally only supposed to use about 30% of your credit limit to have good credit utilization, that means anytime I'd put anything on my card that would make my balance go over 150, I was hurting my score, which was like all the time. So when you're 22 and you're like making $10 an hour because you're still an intern for some reason and you need to put something on your credit card for an emergency and you think that you're being fiscally responsible, sometimes it's actually a catch-22 because you are using too much of your credit limit and it's gonna hurt your score. And if that wasn't already unfair, it's no surprise that our generation also has significantly less credit building opportunities than our parents did. How many people do you know with a mortgage? How many people do you know with a car loan? Probably not many. So it probably seems like the world is stacked against you ever having a good credit score, but here's why trying to build that up matters. Well, remember when you were younger and you had to like prove to your parents that you were responsible enough to go to the mall alone or to watch an R-rated movie? Basically, establishing good credit just shows banks and other people who are going to give you money that you're responsible enough for them to lend to you. But then there's also a subset of people that will look at a credit score, and although they're not necessarily lending anything to you, they're going to know that you're not going to put them in financial risk, like a landlord or even a potential employer. But most immediately as a young person, the thing that you're going to need at least a mediocre credit score is just to get a credit card. As you've probably heard, you need credit to build credit. Here's the trick though. Some people completely bypass this mediocre credit score phase of their life because their parents added them as something called an authorized user as an account when they were a teen, and that means that they essentially inherit their parents' credit score. So if your parent was somebody who did this, basically you're home free. All you really have to do is pay your bills, maybe get a student loan, and you're already on your way to the 800 Club. If that isn't you, and it wasn't me, you are gonna have to, again, get credit to build credit. So when I first graduated college, I wanna say I had a credit score of like 570, which wasn't good at all. But I went to the bank and I got the smallest line of credit and a credit card I didn't even think I was going to get, and I had like a $500 credit limit, and I just put a little bit of money on that every month, and here I am only a couple of years later and my credit is very close to 800. Moral of that story is that if you go to the bank and you talk to somebody face to face and you tell them your situation and you tell them where you'd like to be in a couple of years, a lot of times they're gonna help you get the card or the credit product that you need, and that's gonna help you build your score. The good thing is once you get this first initial credit card, all you really have to remember to do is just put a little bit on it every month, pay it off, keep your utilization low, pay your bills on time, and over time your credit is going to climb. So if you do have one of those super small balance credit cards, what you can do is after a couple of months of paying it off and being responsible, you can call your bank and ask for them to raise your credit limit. And that's gonna help by lowering your utilization rate, which is again a huge factor of building credit. So it's gonna take a little bit of time, but you're gonna see your points raise a little bit, a little bit, a little bit, a little bit, a little bit every time, and you're gonna go from like a 570 to a 763. So let's say you've already got a credit card, your credit score is getting a little bit better. Why else would you need a good credit score? Well, most of the time you're gonna probably need a place to live, like renting an apartment, or if you live somewhere where you need a car, you're gonna need to get an auto loan. For an apartment, most landlords prefer for you to have a credit score of at least 650 to move in. Well, what if your credit score isn't that good? There are ways around it, but they're not cheap. So sometimes landlords are gonna say if you don't have a good credit score, you're gonna have to need to put more money up front. Other times that you're gonna need a good credit score, after you move into an apartment, a lot of utility companies will make sure that you have good credit. Also, something that you need a good credit score as you get older, people weirdly get into credit cards and credit card perks. And I think as a general rule, the heavier the credit card is, the better credit score you need. And it may be just because I'm the real estate editor and I'm biased, but I think that the holy grail of why you need a good credit score in your life is to have a good interest rate when you're applying for a mortgage, because it's gonna save you money over time. And it's not just like a couple of dollars here and there. It's like thousands of dollars over the life of the loan. So in order to get the best mortgage rates, experts say that you actually only need a credit score of 780, which isn't even 800. It's totally doable. But that's the credit score that you're gonna break into the tier where you get the lowest rates and you end up saving the most money. If that seems a little bit out of the range and you just want a conventional mortgage and you don't mind paying for it, in order to get a mortgage, you're at least gonna need a credit score of 680. But again, you're gonna end up paying for it. So there you have it. That's not only what your credit score is and how it's calculated, but reasons why you need it, which in sum is just you're gonna save a lot of money over time. If there's anything that you want me to list explain to you, let me know in the comments and make sure you subscribe.